All right. Greetings. Welcome back to Blackbird News, where everything is connected. How y'all doing? Good to see you. All right. It's time to, I have to retire that opening music now. So this will be the last day that you hear that. Also today, that song that you hear is available for streaming worldwide on Apple Music and Spotify. So if you want to listen to that song in its entirety, it is on Spotify and Apple Music and whatnot. Also, the whole record is officially released today. And if you want to hear the whole thing, you can go over to Bandcamp, purchase the record, and then download it. And then that's the way that you can hear it. I'll drop you a link right here. On YouTube, I'll drop you a link on Rockfin. Rockfin people, how you doing? What was that? And sure, I'll drop you a link on Colin as well. All right, cool. We're live. So the link to the new record is in the call-in chat, and the link to the record is also in all the chats. So there you go. All right, cool. Thank you, Osama. I appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah, you've heard the whole thing, I think, right? I think you got the whole record now. If you pre-ordered the record, you probably have the whole thing now in your possession. I also got forgot to tell you one more thing. Sorry. Gonna hype my stuff for a second. There are t-shirts, Swerve t-shirts. Swerve is the name of the record, and there are Swerve t-shirts. There's a link for that in the chat, also on Rockfin as well. You can go check out the t-shirts, order a t-shirt, Swerve t-shirts. That's also on Rockfin, and I will link that on Callin. Now linked on Callin. Okay. All right. Okay. Enough of that. Y'all can check that out at your leisure. All right. Let's get into it. It's Friday, which means we're going to be a little more interactive today, and the the lines are open all the show, but I would encourage you, please call in the later portion of the show. I just want to get through a couple of articles first, and then we'll do calls in the latter half of the show, or latter parts of the show. Anyways, interesting, if not concerning, article from The Lever. The Biden Department of Justice says that we have no constitutional right to a stable climate. Even though climate change is a real thing, it's an emergency, it's real bad, but we don't have a right to a stable climate. It's an interesting defense. Amid multiple ecological crises, the Justice Department is attempting to kill kids' landmark climate case. As a heat wave scorched America with record-breaking temperatures this June, the Biden administration attempted to block a landmark climate lawsuit by declaring that there is no constitutional right to a stable climate, according to court records. That's what they're going with, I guess. I'm not going to... I'm just reading this for the headline. I think I said that. But, sorry for your luck. We destroyed the planet. We're going to continue destroying the planet. Sorry for your luck. You have no right to a stable climate. Isn't that included under some kind of umbrella, human rights, life, liberty, happiness, pursuit of happiness? Those are constitutional rights, but you don't have a right to a stable climate. We own the right, or we possess the right, retain the right to destroy the planet. That's our right. Well, I don't know. When the powers that be say stuff like that, then I think it's time for people to get a little more aggressive, right? A little more aggro in demanding that they, the hierarchy enslaving you, that they stop destroying the planet. Yes, Poppy, weird stuff in Maui is going on. Yeah, I've been hearing weird stuff too. We're going to talk about some of that. We're going to talk about some of it right now. The official that was in charge of not sounding the sirens during the Maui wildfires has been, well, he resigned, but we're going to assume he's been fired. He was told to step down. A Maui official defended, and he said that they couldn't activate the sirens because they were used for tsunamis, but that's actually not true. Apparently on their website, they use them for wildfires. So, and they say so on their website, that they can be used for all kinds of emergencies. But he defended not activating sirens during last week's deadly wildfires as the country's emergency response has come under scrutiny over what more could have been done to possibly save lives. I mean, it seems like a cavalcade of ineptitude going on here. Yeah, so we're going to play this. We're going to play this gentleman that says he was there. He was an eyewitness. He was there during the fires. He was leaving the fires, and he saw the police blocking the road, blocking people in the town of Lahaina. Why? Blocking people on Front Street. Why would they do that? That actually gets even weirder, right? If they're, you have the sirens not being activated. I mean, you have all kinds of kind of strange activity going on. You have this man's claim that the police were blocking people onto Front Street. That seems to indicate that maybe they wanted this to happen, or we're not going to We're going to encourage it to be worse than it, could have been. And then that opens up a whole can of questions that I think should be asked. I think it's perfectly plausible to ask these questions. Let's watch this. Let's watch this. This gentleman here, whose name is Fish. Hopefully they have the right. Hopefully this has sound and the right video on it. Here we go. Hold on. We're going to listen to this gentleman who was there, who was an eyewitness. He was a local in this area.
It's middle of the day and it's hot. Yeah. Well, went to Safeway late because the wind was blowing, so I knew we wouldn't be able to leave that night. And electricity was off, and so it took me about an hour and a half. A little louder because the wind, just a little louder, Fish. It took me about an hour and a half to just get some orange juice, and so it was about 4 o'clock, and I went out and I saw the fire, and you couldn't even see the gateway because it was covered with smoke, and everyone's standing around just looking. And I said, I think we should get out of here because of the speed of this wind. It could be here in 2 minutes. And
so about what time was this at? By the way, if you guys don't know who this is Fish. He's been sitting next to Cheeseburger in Paradise, selling the most awesome stuffs, right, for years. He's like a legend, and everyone loves Fish, and Fish loves everybody. But he's one of the wisest people that I know. He's not homeless, he's houseless by choice, by the way. Anyway, Fish, continue.
So I went around back to Front Street, and all the cars were lined up, but none of them were moving. And I walked all the way from Safeway to the Chart House. Not one car had moved. And I was wondering what was stopping the traffic. Well, it was a policeman. And I got to the end, and I looked up north. There were no obstructions. There was no reason to keep those cars there.
Are you serious?
I'm serious as a heart attack. And I said, what are you doing? He goes, well, I'm under orders to keep them here. And I said, the fire is right around Safeway. It's going to hit Front Street. These people got to get out of here. And he said, I'm following orders.
No way.
And so I just kept walking. Well, maybe he knows something I don't, So, and I keep walking down the highway, and I look behind. No cars are coming out. I walked all the way to Waikuli Beach. Still no cars coming out. And I started hearing boom, boom, boom. And then I heard people screaming and stuff.
You're saying they were blockaded in by the police at the end of Front Street?
Yeah.
Like where that restaurant is?
Where the Chart House.
Where the Chart House was, I should say. There was a blockade there, and they could not go any further.
Right.
What the hell?
I walked all the way from Safeway to there. Not one car had moved. And people walking in front of me, the people in the cars are saying, would you like a ride? And they go, oh, okay. And they'd get in. They asked me, no, you better get out of here, but they just, well, we were told to evacuate by car. Okay. So I just kept walking, and I got all the way to, like I said, the Civic Center, and then I started hearing all the explosions, and there was no one walking behind me or on bicycles or anything. And I just...
Dude, that is unbelievable.
I had no idea, until the next day when I walked down there of what had happened. I said, oh my...
So did you go up north to your place?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you just hunkered down for the night?
Yeah.
And then you came down to Front Street, or the fire? Because I know the fire burned right above your place. Did it get close to you?
It got to the Civic Center, right where the tennis courts are at, all around through there. That's where they stopped it.
Wow. So if people here want to help you, I know you're not. Are you online? Do you have a Venmo? Do you have any kind of online account of any kind whatsoever?
Okay.
So guys, if you want to help Fish directly.
Okay. Wow. Is all I have to say is this is a very strange, procession of events, right? It's a wild story. The cars weren't moving, the cops were keeping them there, and we're not letting them go. What could possibly be the reason for that? And then you have sirens not going off, telling people, hey, get out of here. So you have at least two things. I heard other, just from different sources, I heard other things about people being, either misdirected or not allowed to leave or not told to leave, or et cetera, et cetera. Right? Well, there were stories about people, being told, not being told to leave, right, in time, saying stay, right? Someone said that originally the official said, stay where you are, everything's going to be okay, right? Okay. Amazing. And so many questions. This is what's great, though, in a way. I mean, this is a terrible situation, but what's great is that you have so many people reporting on the story, and you have so many eyewitness accounts, and you have so many citizen journalists kind of giving you what's going on, on the ground, covering the story and uncovering the story, uncovering what really happened. And it's getting hard. It's going to be hard for the people there in charge to escape scrutiny, which is what you want, right? So, and this is why this is why they put so many guardrails and or so many blockades on social media in place, right? And why they shut down so many voices on social media. It's not because of your safety. It's not for safety. It's not like, oh, we can't have it's not misinformation. It's actually information. They don't want information getting out. And that is why they put so many, guardrails and so much censorship on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and everywhere, Instagram. They don't want people telling the truth. That's their problem. The problem is there's too many people out there talking about what's really going on, and it threatens their hold on power. It threatens their ability to continue to keep things going, in the status quo, which benefits them greatly, right? That's the problem. I'm just defining the problem. The problem is you have too many people out there understanding what's really going on, and you have too many people out there talking about what's really going on, and they want to shut people down. They do not want that. It is not because somebody's in QAnon. It's not because somebody's a Trumper. It's not because somebody's a racist or a fascist or a conspiracy theorist. It's not. Those reasons are just cover, and they work very well because people go, oh, wow, oh, really? He's in QAnon? I thought QAnon was a crazy, crazy conspiracy. That's, it's easy to paint somebody black like that. And everybody goes, oh, yeah, I don't want, no, we don't want that. That's misinformation. You see how useful Trump is, in that regard. Useful. Trump is a useful foil in that regard for shutting down free speech, for shutting down social media, for putting guardrails and safeguards around everything, around information. Because you have somebody so big and scary. So, it's funny, like, because people intimate that somehow I'm a Trump supporter or whatever. I'm just pointing out the hypocrisy in the treatment of Trump compared to some other people. I'm just pointing out the hypocrisy in it. But what I would also like to point out is that if you are one of those people that's like, Trump is so bad, well, then you are a sucker because you are playing into the, sorry, I'm not trying to be mean, but you're being suckered into this game where it's like, oh, this person is like Alex Jones. Oh, he's so bad and he's so crazy. And we can't have people out there giving misinformation to other people because it might make people just, their heads explode. And they'll lose their minds and they'll walk around like crazy zombies and they won't know what's going on. No. Right? They've ginned up this fear of this person. Oh, scary, bad. In order to give a reason for them to shut down your free speech. It's a danger to democracy, right? I'm just outlining the problem there. I don't know. You may You may think Alex Jones is an interesting guy. Maybe you think he's a crazy person. You might think Trump is a nutcase, complete lunatic, criminal, whatever. But the thing is to believe that he's somehow, the worst person on the world, and we've got to shut down free speech because this person is, it actually plays into the hand of the powers that be in order to, so maybe he's just an actor in the game. Maybe Alex Jones is an actor in the game. I'm sure there's several actors in the game, right? I'm going to do the, I'm going to go out there, just act all crazy, nutty, weird, I'm going to play my role and do my job. Anyways. But this is, it's what's really amazing that's happening is you have a lot of journalists like covering the story and uncovering what's going on. And I think all of the information taken together is kind of creating a story there in Maui that something is wrong there. Something's not right, because you have all these responses that just don't make any sense and actually do the opposite of help, right? They hurt people. They allowed this thing to happen. So that, when you have people starting to bring that, put that all together and go, you might actually get to the truth, or a little closer to the truth of what is really going on in Maui. I don't know. Yeah, I realize I don't believe in incompetence, not that level of incompetence. I'm sorry to, I get it. You might think that, they just really messed up there. But, some things, when you have so much incompetence going on, item after item after item after item, it's like, it's a little hard to believe that there was that much incompetence. And once, when you stop believing that's incompetence, then it's when you start to believe that maybe something was intentional there. And Gene, good point. I think there is a combination of incompetence and people not being assertive enough to make decisions on their own at each state level. But I still don't think. I don't think that you can have that much incompetence. I just don't believe that. There are some situations where it's like, all these people whose job, it's their job. They train and they study and they work and they they're promoted and they get, right? These people are in charge because they know a lot about all the stuff that they're doing, right? And to suddenly have them go like, I don't know what happened. It's a little unbelievable to me, but maybe you might be right. It might all just fall under the umbrella of incompetence, but I personally don't believe that. There's too many, the whole thing about the cops not letting them go, that whole story, that is a ding, 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 ding to me. Right? Like, realize, I don't know if you heard that guy speak on the fact that the cops were not letting people get out of the area. Why would they do that? What would be the point of that? What would be the purpose in that? And that's why would that guy make it up? So, that right there, that alone, that story alone speaks to, that's not incompetence. That's like something else. But you might be right. Maybe it is all incompetence. I don't know. Maybe it is all incompetence. I don't know. But I'm pleased to see that people are talking about what's really going on there. And yes, things need to be verified, right? So I'm not saying like I know exactly what happened. I'm just pointing to things that are happening and putting it together and saying like, well, this looks a little weird, but that doesn't mean that I know exactly what happened. I'm just pointing out the strangeness of the story. And Gene, that's a very good point. Humans really are this stupid. Look at what we humans are doing to the planet and other humans. Case in point. Who knows? But I hope that we get closer to the truth as time goes forward, right? And it may not mean anything in the end. All right. This is happening in Argentina. What's happening? Oh, floods. What? You mean crazy, out of control floods again? Whoa. That's pretty wild. And hold on one second. I'm just checking out these chats here in the call-in. Hold on. I'm just looking at some of these chats. Okay. Alrighty. So looking at this Hurricane Hillary, which is on the way. For the first time ever, a tropical storm watch outlined in yellow has been issued along the Southern California coastline from San Diego to Huntington Beach. Tropical storm watch. And that starts rolling in like tomorrow. Tomorrow night, I think. Just to clarify, Hurricane Hillary will weaken as it moves north over cooler waters. It will not be a hurricane when it reaches Southern California, or we assume it's not going to be, but you never know these days, right? You don't know which way things are going to go often. It will not be a hurricane when it reaches Southern California. By the time it gets here, and the track is still not 100% certain, it will be a tropical storm strength or weaker. But it'll still have a lot of rain. Looks like it will definitely get a lot of rain and a lot of wind. So that will be happening. All right. Let's see. Where was I going next? Oh, I wanted to let you all know I'm not going to be here tomorrow. Tomorrow, I won't be back until Wednesday. So from tomorrow through Tuesday, Blackburn News will be on hiatus. There are plenty of other older videos to go back and watch if you care to, feel like it. Yeah, I'm actually slightly nervous that I'm going to be out of town for this tropical activity. I won't be very far away though. All right, let's look at Democrats let's look at Democrats being hypocrites. And before I do that, the best and most direct way to support the show is paypal.me/Kevin Sandblum. Venmo at Kevin Sandblum. Cash App at Red Llama Music. And buymeacoffee.com/BlackBearNews. You can also super chat me or super ray me. What's my personal weather situation? It's really hot right now. I mean, it's, August in Southern California is typically quite warm. It hasn't reached, it was pretty oppressive yesterday. It hasn't reached oppressive yet today, but it's getting there. It's warm. Let's see. All right, we'll watch this. This is an interesting clip of Democrats talking about how horrible it would be for Donald Trump to do the things that they are doing to Donald Trump, which is funny. Again, I'm just, I don't necessarily have commentary on this. I think this speaks for itself.
Let's remember what the Democrats did.
He's got the right attorney general in position to do it. We now know they really have been trying to gin up criminal prosecutions and criminal investigations into the president's perceived enemies.
This is when they thought Trump was doing it to Joe Biden. Now Joe Biden's doing it to Trump, and it sounds like they're describing what Joe Biden and the Justice Department and all these DAs are doing to Donald Trump. Tell me if it doesn't.
He's got the right attorney general in position to do it. We now know they really have been trying to gin up criminal prosecutions and criminal investigations into the president's perceived enemies, politically motivated persecution, right? Courtesy of Bill Barr. I'll roll in the FBI on you. That's how banana republics work, right?
The home of the 45th President of the United States has been raided by the FBI.
Mr. Trump is using the Justice Department to go after his perceived enemies. I feel worried about the prospect of the Justice Department being used as a tool of this president or any. In our little banana republic, any capable prosecutor can get a grand jury to hand down an indictment of something as innocent as a ham sandwich.
An indictment was unsealed, charging Donald J. Trump.
News on former President Trump. He's been indicted for the 4th time in 5 months.
Bill Barr, on the president's behalf, is weaponizing the Justice Department to go after the president's enemies. When you win an election, you don't seek to just prosecute the losing side.
The president using the Justice Department as a weapon to get what he wants.
Department of Justice is totally politicized. Sticking the Department of Justice on political opponents, threatening to imprison his political rival, Banana Republic style.
Trying to exact revenge against all of his enemies, tin pot dictator in the Banana Republic.
Is acting more like a Banana Republic dictator.
He's using government resources to go after his political opponent.
Essentially, we are a Banana Republic. That we are seeking to have a bogus and criminal investigation into a political opponent.
And that's using the Department of Justice to also target Trump's political opponent for nefarious reasons. This is a massive abuse of power and a betrayal of our values.
The President of the United States is targeting a family member of a political opponent. This is the type of thing that happens in a banana republic.
And trying to take out a political rival in Joe Biden.
Criminally investigating an American political rival, someone the president is worried about losing to in the next election.
To investigate my principal opponent or a principal opponent in the upcoming election. Houston, we have a problem.
Don't you think that's something that should be investigated when the incumbent political party opens a counterintelligence investigation on the candidate of the opposing party?
We know Trump is itching to politicize the Justice Department, and the Attorney General has been super shady.
The president is weaponizing the Department of Justice to bring cases against his enemies. The Department of Justice is in an existential crisis.
Again, it's yet another example of the Justice Department basically losing all of its independence in this administration.
This is now about corrupting the next election. And for me, this was crossing the red line.
The president who is actively trying to potentially steal the upcoming election,
But to try to take out a political rival. The end goal?
2020.
Donald Trump and his attorney general are using the Justice Department. The only difference between this and a banana republic is that Trump does not eat fruit.
The 2020 election is really the last chance we have to stop our system from fully sliding into a corrupt banana republic.
Bill Barr has done everything that Donald Trump has wanted him to do. Yeah, we're living in a banana republic right now.
When you start using the Justice Department to go after your enemies, that's very, very dangerous.
Donald Trump is using the Department of Justice to go after his enemies in any way that he can.
Having the head of the chief federal law enforcement agency essentially working on his behalf to investigate a political rival.
To investigate the family of a political opponent. Basically, banana republic behavior.
We're no better than some, some banana republic.
And he's using the abuse of power in every element of the presidency to try to do something to smear me. We just have to demonstrate that he will not take power if he does run.
So I appreciate Tom Elliott tweeting that out.
Just that was pretty funny. I mean, this happens. Every administration one side goes after the other side. They seek investigation or political, right? They do. This has been going on, I mean, as far as I can remember, right? As far as I can remember, every president has the other party go after them for some kind of criminality and see if something sticks. So that's just standard operating procedure. So this is like nothing new. Although I do think though it's a little funny. That there's seems to be like a constant indictment of investigation of Donald Trump, and you might say, well, that's because he deserves it. Okay. What about George Bush? Was there ever an investigation of George Bush? Has there been an investigation of George Bush since he's left office? I have to say, fine, you don't like Donald Trump, but if you think Donald Trump deserves to be prosecuted, indicted, brought up on charges of something, where is George W. Bush? And why has he never been brought up on charges, indicted for war crimes, et cetera, et cetera? No, nothing, never. Okay. Because I'm going to tell you right now that George W. Bush is way more guilty. Was probably to me, in my mind, like the worst president that ever was. He was horrific. That man is just a walking talking criminal. He's horrific, and far excels in criminality than anyone else. But I don't know. Biden might be right in there too with levels of criminality. He's just really good at lying and really good at getting away with it. He's really good at getting away with it. But until until somebody says we're bringing George W. Bush up on charges of something, I mean, I really don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't know, but this is it's just regular stuff anyways. Let's listen to this real quick and then we'll open up the phone lines. We have proof that inflation figures reported by the media can easily be manipulated, and we know this. Here you go.
I think they've been lying to us us about inflation for like 40, 50 years now. I saw this headline in the New York Times: inflation is declining, but here's why your groceries are still so expensive. And I'm like, yeah, they are telling us inflation is going down. The number that the media reports when they talk inflation is typically this measure, the Consumer Price Index. And it's compiled by the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. And it looks like it's been going down. I don't know, but I'm still feeling some of that inflation. Maybe you are too. So, I did some digging. Turns out the government has a few resources at its disposal to manipulate the CPI, the Consumer Price Index. You don't say. You see, at first, the CPI was determined by a fixed basket of goods and services spanning 2 different time periods. But now, the new methodology takes into account changes in the quality of goods and substitution, meaning that the items in a basket of goods can actually change from year to year. For example, let's say the price of steak went up 10% over the last year. Now, instead of taking that into account, they could actually change out the steak for a much cheaper item, say ground beef, and call it a substitution. Now, do we get a say in those changes? Do we even know what changes they're making? Nope. The Bureau of Labor Statistics operates under a veil of secrecy. The raw data used to calculate the CPI is not available to the public. You mean to tell me that there's no way for us to audit this very important measure that the Fed uses to determine monetary policy? Nope, I don't think so. I guess that tracks. This volume passage is from Forbes magazine. Over the past 30 years, the government has changed the way it calculates inflation more than 20 times. These methodological improvements to the CPI are said to give a more accurate measure of consumer prices. However, the changes could also be a convenient way to include or exclude certain products that give favorable low results, but there's no way to know given the lack of transparency. I don't know, am I out of bounds for thinking that, based on that information, inflation can literally be...
Anyways, you guys got the gist of that. It's, I don't know, it's hard to believe that they've been doing this, again, this has been going on for years as well. But I just saw Janet Yellen or somebody out there saying, oh, and, inflation's been the numbers are good, inflation's going down. It's like, really? It is? Are you sure? Are you even a real person? Do you actually live in the world? Or where do you live? You live in a magical gnome garden where things don't cost money? Yeah. But people feel the reality of it, and I think that's why, Biden's chances for re-election are very slim, if none at all. But who knows? We'll see. Maybe they can put Trump in jail and then he'll win because nobody else is running but Biden. According to the television, nobody else is running. I don't know. Anyways. All right. We got a couple minutes left here. Don't know if anybody wants to call in. Feel free or not. It's all good. Give me 1 second. All right. William, how you doing?
Hey, Kev, can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
If you check the links, there's also a curious thing going on a month before where Governor Green made a change to the permit process. Go ahead.
I think I heard something. Okay, go ahead and explain what that is.
Yeah, let me go to the chat. Hang on a second, because rather than me going by memory, let me scroll down. Carl and I have been exchanging things, so give me a second to scroll down to the article. So this is a report by the Sierra Club of Hawaii. Governor Green last month finally unveiled his long hinted at emergency proclamation on housing. This bypasses a normal housing commission for housing permits, right?
Okay.
And the Sierra Club attorney David Kimo Franken perhaps sums it up best. It's unconstitutional, it's anti-Hawaiian, it's anti-environment, it's anti-democratic. Ironically, it's also anti-housing, at least for most local residents, especially for those struggling with housing insecurity. To be clear, the proclamation does not target or require affordable housing development. And the article goes on. That's just what I captured, in a copy for my clip tray. I don't know if you want to read any more of that, but that's, remember we were talking about East Palestine, all the things that lined up that was like, what the heck is going on here?
There were some, again, East Palestine was one of those situations where, I mean, you had this crazy confluence of incompetence, right? So,
right.
Rich Diana, $3.99 in Michigan for gas. That's expensive for Michigan. Gas is like $5 here. In East Palestine, you had this really, I mean, you had so many events happening that were like, what? Why do they do that?
Right.
How did that happen? And then they were doing stuff before it happened that makes you go, well, how do they know this is going to happen? Right.
Right.
I mean, literally, that's the question you should ask. Well, how do they know this is going to happen?
It's certainly should be investigated. And then you add the fact that their emergency operations chief resigned in controversy because they had, what is it, like 60 siren, just Maui alone, I think I read, or 80 that could have gone off to notify people, and normally used for tsunamis or fire.
Right.
And why wasn't that activated? So the guy resigns citing health reasons?
Yes. Right.
I mean, I'm sure he's stressed out after. How do you fail that badly? I mean, first of all, the fires had fires in the morning, and then the major fires didn't rage till the afternoon. So what was the holdup? Yeah, I don't know. This is odd. And of course, the housing, the things we just read about the normal procedure being circumvented, that signed in last month. Well, that's you have to remember the history of the Hawaiian Islands and the land grab that's been happening forever from the natives. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And put it into context. Now, of course, there's so many.
Well, hold on. I'm searching the Maui County of Maui, Hawaii, their emergency preparedness page, website, and I went to tsunami preparedness and safety information. They said, sorry, but there's not a page matching your entry.
That's convenient.
They took it down because somebody just pointed at it. That's interesting. Because somebody was saying that they have the tsunami preparedness page talked about the sirens, and they said that, but the sirens can be used for other things like wildfires, et cetera, et cetera. So contradicting what the officer said about, well, we don't want to use it for something else. That's crazy. The page is gone. That is insane. Do you guys want to see? You guys want to see? I mean, I'm just telling you this, but
go ahead.
Here's the tsunami preparedness page. Sorry, it's gone. Wow. That is absolutely amazing.
Now, isn't Governor Green a WEFer? I think he is. World Economic Forum.
Oh, is he?
That's what I read. I mean, there's a lot of anomalies here that Colonel's pointing out. You had the grasslands being grown after they stopped growing pineapples. You know what I mean? So they wanted to raise cattle, so they brought in this New Guinea grass, which grows like up to 6 inches a freaking day. It's insane.
Yeah.
So you had all this thick grass everywhere. That was part of it.
Yeah.
The winds, the tunnel of winds due to high and low pressures that caused this tunnel I was reading about. And of course,
you do have a confluence. I mean, so climate change, I absolutely think that climate change is a piece of it, because climate change has been affecting the Hawaiian Islands, for the last few years. The weather is certainly different there. It's not just like the weather here is different in Los Angeles. Like, we live in what's known as a Mediterranean climate, which is mainly like a desert, like a coastal desert climate. And so generally in LA, everything is very dry most of the time, especially when it's hot. When it gets hot in the summer, everything gets really dry. This has been one of the most humid years I've ever experienced. And that's not normal. Like, we have almost tropical weather now here. And a lot of days have been very humid, very, very warm, but also very humid and overcast, which is, I joke about it with my girlfriend. about it being like like Mexican weather or more tropical weather, and so that's what we have now. It's just a new weather regime. So I'm sure that Hawaii is also experiencing a new weather regime as well, because things are different now. And so I'm sure that was a part of the equation. But again, if you have a perfect confluence of things happening, and then you have somebody kind of going like, "Oh well, we just we didn't we just didn't turn the sirens on. Oh darn." Like then then I think it's right to have questions about the response anyways. I'm not even talking about I don't even need to go into all the other ideas about like, well, they were, somebody was lighting fires or somebody was, the directed energy, I don't even need to go into that to know that the response looks strange. And, the response is strange enough. If you just want to just talk about the response, that's weird enough.
Right. And wasn't there some reports I recall seeing and hearing, I don't know if you got confirmation, of there being issues with water pressure and the
that's the other thing I heard about. Well, they didn't. Oh man, thank you for reminding me, man. I think I just heard this. It might have been on Jimmy Dore just before I started the show, that they did not supply water to put out the fire. Dang it! I almost forgot to bring that up. So thank you for reminding me about that. Yeah, apparently they did not supply like water to put out the fire.
Here's a possibility though, Kev. Okay, like I was in Escondido and we had super high winds, 60, 100 mile, and I was in Escondido for several fires in the property in the area.
Yeah.
And when you get high winds, you have power line problems. Believe it or not, they need to be tensioned regularly, spaced regularly, and if they're not, and if the trees aren't pruned properly, we had a problem there with Davy tree and the lack of maintenance. What happens is the power lines can slap one another, slap the tree limbs, break in high winds, and you have a lot of sparking happening. That's what caused many of the fires in Escondido.
Sure.
Right. So that could be a cause, highly possible. Also, if those pumps were electrical, which I'm sure they were, if they didn't have backup generators, I don't know what I haven't dug into it enough, but there could have been a lack of power due to power transmission line breaking, but you would think they would have backup generators ready, right? I mean, diesel or something. I don't know. That more needs to be investigated, I would suggest. And
sure, and maybe all of this is also being exacerbated by, the lack of upkeep of our infrastructure, over complexity.
Yes.
Everything is very complex, and the infrastructure is, there's less money for regular maintenance on infrastructure. You have and then you have power companies cutting their maintenance of power lines, and so all of these things, right? So look at this. I'm just found this article. Why was there no water to fight the fire in Maui? So apparently you're right. The hoses went dry, or there was no pressure. And I just heard this like right before I started the show, so I didn't have time to really like go look into it or find any information on it. But I just heard it. Anyways, there's a long-running battle over West Maui's most precious natural resource, water. That's why on Tuesday, August 8th, when Tarari Chandler Lowe was fleeing the fires in Lahaina, she grabbed a pack of clothes, some food, and something a little unconventional, a box filled with water use permit applications. Anyways, I guess water rights, there's been like a battle over water rights in Maui.
One would think for emergency use, though, that wouldn't be an issue. Like, here you go. Right.
Well, the thing I heard about it was that they were saying that there was something about, I don't know if it was water conservation or I don't know the details enough to really speak on it, but somebody was saying there was another issue. What I heard was that there was another issue about the water, and that there was not enough water to fight the fires, which again which again is another piece of like, well, that no sirens, no water, people blocked on the road. Golly gee, just a confluence of coincidences, right? Like when there's, it's like one coincidence is a coincidence, but when you have like 5 coincidences, then that's not a coincidence. Then you're like, oh wait, all these coincidences happen to make a terrible thing. Okay, come on. Like for me, there's a number of coincidences at which I go, nah, no, I don't believe this anymore. You're not telling me that everybody was just stupid and just fucked up all on one day. No, I don't believe it, and I'm not going to believe it. I'm just not gonna continue going down that road with, oh well, maybe it was just everybody just everybody just got caught napping. No, that's not what happened. I'm sorry. At some point, it's not napping. At some point, it's, okay, something really weird is going on here. I don't know. Who knows?
It looks like one thing that you would think that they have a high water tower that would have gravity feed pressure.
Right.
You see what I mean? In
Sure.
the event of a fire. I mean, a huge water tower somewhere on the island, which they,
right.
It seems like that would be standard operating procedure. I don't know because I'm not on the island, but that would be logical. You know what I mean?
Right.
In the event you had power lines go down and system failure, you'd have that high water tower pressure. I don't know, six, like 100 plus thousand gallons. I had a 60,000 gallon water tank on a 25 acre property. So,
yeah,
that's a gravity feed tank. Now, we still need the booster pump to fight fire. And the problem was the power lines burnt and the poles burnt. And so it turns out that all failed. But, that happened in Escondido. So I know it can happen. But at least the fire department showed up and they were able to put out the other 2 buildings by drawing off that 60,000 gallons I had. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
To stop the other 2 buildings from burning. We lost 2. So they were able to douse them, and you see what I'm saying? So all I can do is draw on a little experience being in a high wind catastrophic fire situation and ask myself, it just failed on every level. And
I mean,
certainly
and maybe that is it. I don't, I still, even though I just said what I said about, I don't necessarily believe it. I'm still, I'm open to maybe that's the explanation, that it was just all a big mess up. But I don't believe that it was just a big mess up. But I'm still open to that explanation too. What Gene says, the water was reserved for the taro farms, and they allowed the water to move to the town too late. So there was water, but they didn't release it. Okay. I don't know.
That's bizarre, though. You got to have a backup system.
It is, and it's just awful weird.
Yeah.
I think that everybody, just was moving just super slow. I don't know. I don't know. Hey man, I gotta end the show here, and I gotta take off. And thank you, William. Thanks for calling in, man. I appreciate the information. That was very, very interesting.
Thank you, Kev. Good talking.
All right.
Okay, bye.
All right, guys. That does it for me, and I will see you all on Wednesday. I'll be back Wednesday, and y'all enjoy your weekend. And if you are in Southern California, take precautions, or stay safe and all that kind of good stuff, or enjoy the rain, whatever you want to do. All right, y'all. Until next time, peace.